I was holding a box of cake when I walked into our house, and she was holding my boss by the tie in our bedroom. I just said, "Put the candles on yourself," and walked out. A week later, he got a termination notice from me. "Hey there, we're working hard to hit our first 1,000 subscribers. If you love true, emotional stories, hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know." Now let's get into the story. I was holding a box of cake when I opened the door with my elbow. It was our tradition. I'd bring something sweet home every Friday night, no matter how tired I was. That night was extra special. I'd just gotten the promotion I'd been working toward for nearly 5 years, sleepless nights, unpaid overtime, saying yes to every extra task my boss threw at me. I figured I'd surprise her with a celebration. Small, simple, just us. She always said she preferred that anyway. I remember pushing open the front door and calling out, "You won't believe what happened today." I was already smiling, but no one answered. There were 2 wine glasses on the kitchen counter, hers and someone else's. My smile slipped a little, but I told myself not to jump to conclusions. Maybe her friend was over. Maybe they were watching a movie. Maybe I was just being paranoid. I walked toward the bedroom, still carrying the cake, still holding on to the hope that this would be a good memory. That's when I saw them. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, laughing. My boss, my actual boss, was standing between her knees, his tie in her hands, hanging halfway off like she'd just yanked it loose. His belt was undone. Her shirt was unbuttoned. Their faces looked like they were in the middle of some private joke until they both noticed me standing there. I didn't drop the cake. I didn't yell. I didn't ask questions. I just looked at her and said, "Put the candles on yourself," then turned around and left. That was it. No drama. No tears. No screaming. Just silence. I got in my car, drove to the nearest park, sat on a bench and watched some kids play tag while that box of cake sat on the passenger seat like a tombstone. I stared at it until the sun went down. The candles were still in the bag. I had even gotten the number 5 and a number 0. 50 successful projects under my belt. That's what the promotion was for. And she was in bed with the guy who'd given it to me. You ever have that moment where your body feels like it's still going through the motions, but your brain has stopped trying to keep up? That was me, just sitting there, blinking, heart not even racing. It was like my body didn't even want to waste the adrenaline. I drove home at midnight. I parked outside for a while. The lights were off by then. No sounds. I didn't go back in. I just grabbed a duffel bag from the trunk, filled it with a change of clothes, and booked a hotel. No note. No text. No explanation. She called once the next day. I didn't answer. He texted me, my boss. He said, "We need to talk. Man to man." I stared at that message for a while, then archived the chat. I didn't tell anyone what happened. Not yet. Not even my closest friends. I didn't rage post. Didn't vent. I just sat with it. Let the silence grow. And in that silence, something started to form. A plan. A clean, quiet plan. See, what they didn't know was that they hadn't just broken my heart. They'd broken company policy. Big time. But I wasn't going to walk into HR with accusations. No. That would be too easy. They were going to feel this the way I did. Slow, unexpected, and impossible to undo. And it started with one sentence I wrote in my notebook that morning at the hotel. Collect everything. Then decide. Let's just say, they gave me more than enough material to work with. You ever look back at something and feel stupid for not noticing the signs? Yeah, that was me. Sitting in a hotel room with stale coffee and an untouched slice of cake, replaying every little moment I used to brush off. Every harmless joke. Every night she said she was too tired. Every Saturday she said she needed space. And worst of all, the times I'd offended her. To friends. To family. Even to myself. Before that night, if someone had asked me how my relationship was going, I would have said, "We're solid. We're just busy. Things will calm down after this project ends." I really believe that. Looking back now, I was just blind. Willingly blind. We met 4 years ago at a housewarming party. She was sarcastic, sharp, and didn't care about impressing anyone. I liked that. She was different. At least, I thought she was. Back then, I had just started at the company. Low-level analyst, broke, constantly behind on rent. But she stuck with me through it. Or so I thought. We moved in together after a year. Split bills. Planned vacations we couldn't afford. Built a Pinterest board for a wedding that never happened. Then things changed. It started when I got offered a chance to work under him, my boss. Mentorship, they called it. A career fast track. I took it. And yeah, it meant longer hours. More stress. Weekends filled with spreadsheets and Zoom meetings. But it was temporary. It was for us. At least, I believe that. She started having more girl nights. Started locking her phone. She'd laugh at texts and tilt the screen away. I'd ask what was funny, and she'd say, just memes. You wouldn't get it. One night, I came home around midnight after a late shift. I walked in on her video calling someone in the kitchen. When she saw me, she ended the call fast and said it was her cousin. Her cousin, huh? I should have known. I should have asked more questions. But I didn't want to be that guy. The jealous, insecure one. So I let it go. There were work dinners where my boss would show up late, smelling like her perfume. One time he even slapped me on the back and said, "Man, your girl is something else." I laughed it off. Thought he was just being friendly. Idiot. Now that I've had time to think, I realized they didn't just start that night I walked in. This had been going on. For months. Maybe longer. And you want to know the worst part? I told him about my plan to propose. I showed him the ring. I said I was going to do it on our next trip. He nodded and said, "She's a lucky one." Yeah, lucky. So no, I wasn't just betrayed by her. I was played by both of them. But like I said, I didn't scream, didn't confront, didn't even cry. I went back to work the following Monday. Pretended nothing happened. My boss joked around like usual. Asked if I was free for drinks that weekend. Said we should celebrate the promotion. I smiled and said I'd think about it. Inside, I was already collecting everything I needed. Every weird transaction on the company card. Every suspicious calendar event he made private. Every office rumor that I used to ignore. And HR? Let's just say, they owed me a favor. The silence wasn't weakness. It was preparation. Because when I strike, it won't be emotional. It'll be official. And when it hits, they'll both realize something too late. I don't make noise. I make moves. 3 days after I saw them together, I was back at work like nothing happened. No dramatic exit. No angry email. No cryptic quotes on social media. Just quiet professionalism. Smiles. Morning. Thanks, I'll take care of that. I made sure everything felt normal, because normal makes people sloppy. He thought he got away with it. Thought I was too weak or too clueless to fight back. That's the thing about people like him. They're so used to getting away with crap that they forget some of us play the long game. What he didn't realize was that I knew everything about the company's back-end systems. Financial audits, travel logs, internal policy on management-employee relations. I helped write some of those protocols when I was a junior. He forgot that. So I started digging. At first, it was subtle. I reviewed our expense reports. Found a few business dinners charged to the company card. Dates that matched nights she was supposedly out with friends. One receipt had 2 glasses of wine, tiramisu, and a hotel suite booked under his name. The idiot used the corporate card. From there, it got easier. Office calendar logs showed he repeatedly scheduled internal strategy meetings during hours when nothing was booked, sometimes outside of business hours. I checked badge access logs. Turns out, her name showed up in the building multiple times without a meeting invite and after security hours. That was violation number 2. But I wasn't done. You see, the company recently updated its ethics code. Any relationship between senior staff and employees, especially if it creates bias or conflict of interest, had to be disclosed to HR. Guess what they didn't do? Disclose it. And here's the fun part. She had done contract work for the company. Freelance marketing consultant. Guess who approved her contracts? Yep, him. Nepotism. Conflict of interest. Financial misconduct. That's 3 strikes. That's enough to bury a career. But I needed proof. Not just data. Something visual. Something solid. So I waited. A week later, we had an executive off-site meeting. Casual setting. Hotel lounge. After hours. I stayed quiet most of the night, until he got a little too comfortable. He started talking about making moves, about sometimes bending rules for people you care about. Someone asked if he was seeing anyone. He said, laughing, "I don't mix business and pleasure." I pulled out my phone, opened the HR policy doc, and asked him, "Mind signing off on the Q3 ethics disclosures again? Just need confirmation that no violations occurred." He froze. I smiled. He didn't say anything, just stared at the screen for a moment too long. The next day, I submitted an anonymous report. Everything. Receipts, timestamps, badge logs, emails. I even included screenshots from their private Instagram story that she forgot to block me from. One of them had her wearing his dress shirt in my apartment with the caption, "When work becomes play." I didn't tell her anything, didn't text, didn't warn, but I did send one message to our company's legal compliance officer. Subject, policy breach documentation, request for internal review. No signature, no sender ID, just facts, dates, files, attachments. And then I waited. Because sometimes revenge isn't about explosions. It's about gravity. You remove the floor and let them fall on their own. It was a Wednesday morning when the email hit his inbox. I wasn't there when he opened it, but I was in the office. I heard the silence. That's the thing about corporate environments. People notice noise, but they feel silence. You could sense it from across the floor. The way conversations trailed off. The way people looked up from their screens. Something shifted. You know that moment when a predator realizes he's been hunted? That was him. He walked past my desk, pale. Didn't make eye contact. No usual smug, "Hey, buddy." Just straight into a glass conference room with two senior managers and one woman from HR who never smiles unless someone's getting fired. 15 minutes later, the door opened. He didn't come out. Security did. I didn't gloat. Didn't smirk. I just sat there typing. Like I was updating a spreadsheet instead of watching a career implode. He passed by me on his way out, still avoiding my eyes. But I looked up, just once, and said, "Tough quarter, huh?" He flinched, didn't say a word. Then he was gone. Official email came out an hour later. Due to unforeseen circumstances, name is no longer with the company. We thank him for his service. Classic corporate eulogy. No one buys it, but no one questions it either. My phone buzzed. It was her. Her. What the hell happened? Her. Did you do something? Her. We need to talk. I didn't respond. Just muted the thread. Later that day, I walked into my new manager's office. HR had already approached me, asked if I'd be willing to step into the interim team lead role, given my performance and leadership stability. Translation, you stayed calm when the bomb went off. I said yes, not because I needed revenge, because I earned it. That night, I went home for the first time in over a week. I had already transferred the lease to my name. She was technically still on the paperwork, but I knew the landlord. One polite conversation and her name was off everything. All utilities too. She wasn't home, probably still trying to figure out where he went. So I packed up her stuff. Every drawer, every hanger, boxed it neatly, labeled everything. Then I texted her. Your things are in the storage unit down the block. Code's 1034. Lease ends Friday. Good luck. 5 minutes later, she called. I didn't answer. She called again and again, left a voicemail. You don't understand what's going on. He told me he was going to leave his job anyway. We didn't plan it like this. Can we please talk? Plan it. Leave his job? Oh, honey. He didn't leave anything. I kicked the ladder out from under him and watched him drop. And you? You were just background noise. A week after he got fired, I saw her again. She showed up at my gym. Yeah, my gym. Wearing the leggings I bought her last Christmas, pretending to bump into me like it was some cosmic accident and not a full-blown stalker move. Hey, she said, like the last 2 weeks hadn't happened. You look good. I didn't say anything, just kept wrapping my hands before sparring. She tried again. I don't know what people told you, but it wasn't like that. He meant nothing. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, you destroyed a relationship and a career for nothing? Cool. Then I stepped into the ring and left her standing there like a ghost trying to haunt someone who doesn't believe in them anymore. She didn't stop there. That night, she DM'd me on Instagram from a burner, then texted me from her mom's number, then emailed me from an old account titled ourfirstaplove@gmail.com. Desperate much? She wanted to explain. Said she was confused, that she only hooked up with him because I was always working, and she felt lonely. Said she missed how things used to be. I thought about replying. Thought about giving her that one final slap of closure. Instead, I posted a photo of myself on a weekend trip. New city, different skyline, smiling with a whiskey in one hand and a laptop in the other. Caption, peace tastes better when you earn it. It blew up. Not viral, but enough that our mutuals saw it. Enough that she saw it. And apparently, enough that her best friend slid into my messages the next day with, so, wait, you're single now? Nah, not playing that game. But I was curious. This same best friend, the one who used to cover for her girls' nights. Yeah, she had receipts, screenshots, conversations, timelines. Turns out, they'd been planning to leave me. She and my boss. The job. The apartment. Even my dog. She wanted to fight for custody in some twisted, I raised him too logic. They had spreadsheets. Plans. She was going to get him to recommend her for a full-time position. Then once I was out of the picture, she'd move into his high-rise. What she didn't plan on was me being 5 steps ahead. Her plan was a fantasy. Mine was execution. And now? He was unemployed. She was couch surfing. And I was leading his old team with a promotion offer in my inbox from a competitor who heard how I handled the crisis internally. Funny how word travels. Even funnier when she tried to use me as a reference for a new job. Yep, you read that right. The email hit my inbox last night. Applicant, her name, listed you as a professional reference for the following role. I stared at it for a full minute, just stunned. Then I clicked reply all and wrote, unfortunately, I cannot recommend her name due to severe breaches of professional and personal ethics, which led to multiple HR interventions at her last point of contact with our company. Sent. No drama. No insults. Just truth. She called me 9 times that day. Left 3 voicemails. The last one, you don't have to ruin everything. I didn't think you were this kind of person. Guess what? Neither did I. 3 months after everything blew up, life got quiet. Not the sad kind of quiet. The clean kind. Peaceful mornings. No walking on eggshells. No second-guessing text messages or wondering why she smiled at her phone when I wasn't looking. Just silence. And freedom. I had stepped into my new role like nothing had happened. No gossip. No fallout. At least not for me. The company swept his termination under the rug, branded it personal misconduct. HR asked me if I wanted to be involved in any legal actions. I declined. Let the paperwork bury him. My hands were already clean. As for her, she moved back in with her sister, last I heard. Tried freelancing again. Burned a few bridges. Reached out to people she hadn't spoken to in years, probably trying to start fresh. But people talk. And in our industry, reputation is everything. Then came the full circle moment. I had just finished interviewing a candidate for a new assistant role, simple admin stuff, when the next name popped up on my list. I stared at it for a second. Her best friend's name. You remember her, right? The one who used to cover 4 wine nights. The one who laughed at my corny Instagram captions while knowing exactly who her best friend was sneaking around with. She walked in like nothing had ever happened. Hey, wow, this is crazy. I didn't know you'd be doing the interview. I smiled, offered her a seat. She started talking fast, resumed this, past job that, how she was so excited to get back into a creative team. I let her talk. Then I opened the folder in front of me. Her resume was blank. Just a note I'd written earlier. Some ghosts need to hear the door close. She looked confused. I said, thanks for coming in, but we won't be moving forward. She blinked. Wait, why? I leaned back. Let's just say I've learned the value of cutting ties before they strangle you. No yelling. No drama. Just a quiet, calm line that hit harder than any insult. She left in silence. That night, I got a message from my ex. Just one line. Why are you doing this? I stared at it for a minute, then typed. Because you handed me the matches. I just chose not to burn my own house down. Then I blocked her. For good. No more second chances. No more ghost accounts. No more explanations. My life now? Simple. Clean. Focused. I still bring home cake on Fridays. Only now, I eat it alone. And damn, it tastes better without the lies. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.